Hi, Pisces. It's Angela doing your Pisces Sun, Moon, and Rising reading for the month of July 2022, or whenever you open this video. That's actually the timing as far as when you are ready to receive this message. This is a soul guidance reading. We are not predicting any outcomes or others' actions or anything. We're focused on the internal aspect of you and how that connects to the rest of the universe and ways that you can improve your experience by tapping into your source and following some of the guidance to heal and then thrive as well. Okay, so I usually pull an oracle card to give us a theme, and then we go into a little bit more depth with the Zen Tarot spread. And the oracle cards at this time are coming from Goddess Love. This is a beautiful deck. I love the illustrations. And your card, Pisces, is compassion. Self-love is the main focus here. In order to be able to experience that compassion. Now, compassion is like one of the highest forms of love. It's allowing you to connect with and understand and feel for others and whatever space they're in their life, whatever limitations they have going on, you're able to tap into that universal love that's always there, right? Which actually you are universal love, right? We all are at the soul level. So being able to love yourself and have self-compassion is kind of the first brick that you need to build and expand your compassionate heart toward others. So loving yourself first is important. You could do, we could all do with a little more attention on self-love, not self-absorption, but the appreciation and the tapping into the stream of love that's always there connecting us all. Okay, all right, let's move into the Zen spread. So we have your starting point here, Pisces, as understanding. Oh, beautiful way to start. So this is that self-understanding, really, it's mainly, but also maybe as it pertains to others, but being able to remain open without any barriers, right? These bars that these doves are experiencing, keeping them apart from one another, the bars are actually an illusion. And once we start to realize that and really experience true connectedness, then that sense of understanding and compassion builds from there, right? So this is beautiful. And if we're talking about self-compassion, then this is an important factor as well when you are connecting within to the different facets of yourself. Maybe there's a part of yourself that made mistakes when you were younger, or you had a phase in your life where you weren't making really wise choices. Well, beating yourself up for that over and over gets you nowhere. It stalls you out. But being able to bring compassion into the picture and understanding and realizing, well, I did behave that way back then, and I was doing all I could, the best I could, with what I knew at the time, with my self-knowledge, with my self-love, my compassion, my levels of compassion that I was willing to bring, all brought me to some of those decisions. And now I'm going to be as loving and understanding as possible to allow for those growth points to be a part of my bigger picture. Okay, so that's a beautiful way to start as far as the self-love, self-compassion component. Internally within you, these other energies that are supporting this feeling of understanding, I got turning in. So this is right, staying as connected with the depth of your feelings, the depth of your understanding, your self-awareness, without all this. See how these figures are kind of haunting her above her head? That's all just chatter and not really relevant to her touching down and connecting with herself. You know, you might want to do a little practice, a little breath practice, where when you breathe in, you're breathing in the self-love and self-acceptance, and you're feeling that out. You're feeling the sensation of that full acceptance of yourself. And then as you breathe out, you can send away the old energies and the limiting beliefs that no longer serve you. So just in that 5 minutes of breathing in and out and imagining sort of shoring up your the self-acceptance part, you know, the understanding within, and then leaving away all the criticism and input from others, and even your own self-criticism, letting that fall away. In your external world, this results in flowering. Look at that. So you have this point of understanding, right? You're even just an awareness of it, an awareness of the need to sort of dissolve those bars that are keeping you from true connection with your inner being or with others. If you want to interpret this as the compassion for others, that's a good way too, but we are talking about mostly self-love. But yeah, tapping into the awareness of that really nothing separates us from it all is in one pool, right? The love, the frustration, the fear, the awareness, all of it is in one pool. And if we can allow that all to be present while we breathe in our self-acceptance and breathe out those critical thoughts, then we've already we've planted our seeds, and they will begin to blossom. We will create more of a flow in our lives, a flow of love and compassion and understanding for ourselves and for others, if we just shine our focus onto it, right? The key to moving forward here is this card here, and we got receptivity. So it's stay open, even open those channels wider. When we're talking about turning in and tuning in and tapping into what's within us and the level of understanding that we have within us to the specific point of awareness we are at this time in our life, then you have an opportunity to open it wider, open those channels. This figure is pretty much, you know, crown chakra energy, the vibrations coming in from the divine, from the creator, from the universe. And there's an openness, there's a wide openness here of receiving new information, receiving new suggested, you know, ways of showing our compassion and letting our compassion move out into the world, and being able to connect, fully connect with ourselves, our history timeline, you know, all the things that led us up to this point and created who we are now, staying very open to that. And then as far as we're going, moving forward, we have that same open receptivity. Really important. This is hard because when we are wronged, or when we make mistakes, or when we encounter fear or vulnerability, we tend to close off. It's a protective measure. The trick is to breathe through that. And it's not always easy. It's a very simple concept, but it's not always easy because we tend to choke it off. You know, even the fear could be, you know, seen as like a guidepost. That this fear is being triggered in me right now. And of course, the reaction is to want to close off and keep ourselves hidden or protected from any further fearful energies or anything that would cause us harm. And the trick is to breathe through that and remain open. Let the fear be present. Let the situation play itself out. You know, as long as we're not physically being harmed or too deeply spiritually being harmed, let some of that stuff wash away, because it will on its own for the most part. If you're in a specifically, you know, difficult situation that is causing trauma and other things, that's for another authority. But this is just the energy level of it, right? We're looking at the energetic aspect of how we function. Once you step out into the world and you encounter real people and you get into, you know, roadblocks, that's another level of, you know, another set of actions that need to be taken. But energetically and spiritually, you know at the root how to proceed, right? And so staying open to receiving those signs is really important. Okay, so now we move to the next level. So we've got our understanding down pat. We're tapped into the flow of our own self-compassion, which opens up channels for us in our external life. And then the trick to remaining open and keeping those channels open is our key to getting to the next level of understanding. And that, oh yeah, okay. Well, with there, we've got this isolation card sandwiched between two more like open awareness cards. So the isolation, this is what I was just talking about. It's the opposite end of the receptivity, right? It's not remaining open. It's severing yourself, closing yourself off out of fear, out of worry. And you end up very cut off from life, from your own life, and then from others as well. And it shows here that one of the ways to melt that ice and to sort of, it's kind of the same as these bars, let the bars dissolve, is to, this big figure is crying in order to melt the ice, right? It's just show your true emotion, show your truest self. You know, these cards, this vertical line here is all about sort of the thing that's separating you from where you want to go, or the state of being that you want to achieve, is an illusion. There's nothing separating you from that. You already are that. You already are compassion and love. What we do in life is we retreat and constrict ourselves when fears or vulnerabilities come up, and we end up cutting ourselves off from that compassion. So the thought that we can't tap into the compassion, it's an illusion, right? We already are. It's a matter of how much am I allowing it in and how much am I cutting off, right? So that's pretty fascinating that those came out in that line. And then internal support to this isolation card, to this card of feeling cut off and feeling not in the flow and not connected to ourselves or others or to spirit. That internal support is this card of innocence. So it's almost like no matter how much you've learned, no matter how much you know, and how many years you've been here, how much experience you have in this life, there's always a fresh, kind of like peeling the onion. There's always a fresh level of understanding waiting for you to experience. And when you achieve those specific levels, and in this case, it's when you drop the the barriers of the ice or whatever, when you drop those walls and show up as your authentic self, then the supporting energy is this innocence, which is saying no matter what you know and how much you've learned, there's always a starting point, right? The beginner's mind in Buddhism is always be willing to learn again and again and again, right? Every level that you reach of your personal development brings you to a new starting point, right? So it's being able to see things as if, I've never been here before, and I'm willing to learn new things to bring me up to my next level, right? This is just sort of stepping up. Remember that at the root of this reading is self-love. It's kind of the key to unlocking it all, but it's not as sort of automatic. We could say, oh, just incorporate some self-love into your life, right? Well, it's not that easy all the time when we are burdened down by blocks of ice that we've kind of put in place in order to keep us protected from others. But it can also it slows our progress as far as really tapping into that universal love. I really like that the thought that we had here with the turning in card of breathing in, just even if it's just imagining what it feels like to love yourself in the beginning. If you're that separated from your love for yourself because life brought you there to this point where you're severed from it and you can't feel it, you feel isolated from it, at least breathe. When you're doing this breath work here, we talked about imagine what it feels like to fully love yourself. And just in that, it starts to set those seeds of intention and the flowering still occurs, right? And this is not going to be where you say, okay, I did the work, I fully love myself now, and there's nothing left, to explore. There's no sticking points left. Some of us, maybe, if you're an enlightened being and have been doing this work for a while, but for some of us, if we're just starting to understand that love is the universal thread, that we are that love, and that we share that love with all other beings, then we're just getting to understand that, then it's sometimes hard to undo all of the nuts and bolts that we've put into place and locked our beliefs in, right? Up until this point, we have the power to change, and it's really as a matter of shifting the way you see it, right? That's this innocence card. That's shifting the way you see it helps you to experience it differently. But some of us are stuck in this locked up place. I feel that with this practice, that there's, a great chance for a lot of you to sort of chip away at some of that self-doubt or the places where you feel cut off from the love and compassion that the universe is always providing, whether or not we're looking for it or not. And then the outcome, the last card in this reading, is consciousness. This is sort of your highest level of, mental awareness, emotional awareness. It's almost like you're on a perch and being able to be in that higher space to be able to see life from a sort of a safe distance, but not being cut off. You're in the thread of it, but you've done the work that's in this more dense, low vibrational energy. So you can, it's like almost like once you've increased your consciousness and your level of awareness, you kind of can't unknow it. You can't really fall back down, right? It's a matter of growing to this place and then feeling that around and getting used to it, and then moving to the next place. And that is that sort of beginner's mind vibration. But more and more, Pisces, you're rising up higher and higher. And keep in mind too, this card shows that third eye is lit up. And as one of the more intuitive signs, Pisces, you have a head start kind of with that connection. Your intuition is your connection to spirit and love. And if you work on keeping those channels open, you can just keep on rising. And then soon that self-compassion and self-love that you are cultivating within you can be shared and put upon others. And then you start to build community, right? This is, step by step, this is the way that we can shift and really transform this planet. It's possible, but it's a matter of where is our focus, right? All right. I think that'll do it for this moment. And it was great to see you guys again. Please keep coming back to my channel. Give me those and all the comments and anything that you can do to help me keep going. And if you have any questions or you want to contact me directly, you can go to my website, groundeddreamers.com, and you can join my newsletter. And we have some things coming up soon that will be, sort of unfolding as time goes on, and it'll be great to have you on board. Okay. I love you guys. I'll see you for the next reading.